Hello, good morning, and welcome to Edison TV. Is how Lord Frost might have started off this interview this morning. But I'm not Lord Frost. I am Ashbourne, though, and, well, you get the picture. Now, they say that lightning doesn't strike twice. Or does it? Last year, Terrain Minerals, who we'll be interviewing in this particular segment of Edison TV, announced results from its Smokebush Gold, its lightning prospect at its Smokebush Gold project in Western Australia. That came out with results of, well, amongst other things, 13 metres at 8 grams a tonne, a little bit more than 8 grams a tonne, but within that, it had 2 metres at 48 grams a tonne. That's about 1.5 ounces per tonne of gold. Now, will all the tonnes be like that? I think I can probably go out on a limb here and say probably not all of them, but they're coming up to their second round of results. And joining me, I would say in the studio, but he's not. He's in Western Australia with his finger on the pulse, is the company's Principal Executive Director, Justin Virgin. Justin, very good morning to you. Very good morning in London terms. Very good afternoon in Western Australian terms. Thank you for joining us. Tell us about what you're looking at the moment.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Really exciting. It's a bit of an inflection point for the company. In this project, we've got 16,000 RC meters and 97 holes and 4 diamond holes. So reasonably advanced. We are targeting a JORC mid-year, and we've just recently completed 7,739 meters at the project, and predominantly 4,800 of them plus 660 diamond, which are due to come out imminently at Lightning. So, we've been drilling here for a few years now. We've been doing like 1,000, 2,000 meter size programs, done some IP. We've got some really, we've unlocked it. The last set of results in September 25 have unlocked this for us. Our model works, and we've gone back. We're hoping for similar results to last time, where the bulk of these results, 70% of the drilling, is extending known mineralization zones. And gold's typically found where gold has been or next door, and a little bit of exploration and testing for some new zones. So really exciting for the company.
So in terms of the timing, when do you think you can announce these results to the market?
Imminent. I think they're not far away. The next week or two. It's been about 6 to 8 weeks since the last lot have been sent to the lab, so we're close, we believe. So it's the business time.
It's imminent. Worth saying that it's the 9th of April as we speak, so within a week would be, before the 16th, let's say 17th of April, at the end of next week. So it really is imminent in that respect. Now, I assume, have you seen, when you got that 48 grams per tonne, was there visible gold in that?
No, these are RC chips. So it comes out, the rig's actually RC, is basically a hammer drill. So it's unusual to see chips. If you do a diamond core, which is like a straw into an ice cream, and pull it out, you get like a pipe. You sometimes do see them, but we unfortunately didn't see that. That's a bit of a gimmick for the market.
Okay, so my next question was: have you looked at the core? Is it all sparkly and orange? And you won't have that because, as you say, that it's RC drilling, it's RC chips.
Yeah.
In terms of how the program's gone so far, would you say it's met your expectations, given you what you wanted?
Look, absolutely. I think all of our drilling has hit the zones where we thought they'd be within a meter. So, we've got, if you look at some of our announcements, we've got 3 or 4 points in a lot of the cross sections already. And now we're just pushing things a bit further and along. So yeah, we're very happy. We're very excited about what we're seeing. It's behaving, and now we're just, the results will tell us how well it's behaving. But what I can say is gold doesn't come down with the rain. It typically comes up from underneath, and we're pushing it down. So
what are the next steps? So results by the end of next week, roughly, so mid-April, and then what after that?
We're planning to get our maiden JORC out
towards the middle of the year.
Yeah, mid June. 1 or 200,000 ounce zone we're sort of expecting, but let's see. The region has got a lot, is well endowed. Our neighbour dug about 32 pits. Their average grade of their mill is about 3.2 grams a tonne, I believe. So there's some healthy deposits around the area, and a few big ones.
So maiden resource, middle of the year, and then how would you like to see it develop after that? In your wildest dreams, and you're allowed to exercise, some latitude here.
Well, what we've found, we've got all the technical components to have a big deposit here. So we've got all the geological pieces, and we've confirmed it's in a basalt, which is a really good medium for gold to come out of solution. We've got dolerites, which act like big giant sponges, which is just a basalt that's cooled deep down in the Earth's crust. It has big giant spongy sort of holes or fractures in it for gold to sit in, all the fluids to pour into. So we need to go back and do a lot more drilling. This program's got to tell us where that next drilling is, potentially find some more zones of mineralisation we don't know about. And then we need to go and drill the dolerites out, which there's many of them, sort of stacked, sitting east-west. The main structure goes north-south where the fluids have been running, and then they've hopefully poured into these dolerite cross-cutting units. So we know a few of them are mineralised. So for us, we need to go back and do drilling and more drilling. With a JORC, we can probably see if we can do some early stage toll treatment and get into some early cash flow. That's definitely on the radar for us. If we can get a little bit of this into a mill somewhere and become self-sufficient for funding, that's a major tick for us as well.
And this is in a fairly accepted greenstone belt in Western Australia. So You're drilling in the right postcode, so to speak.
Absolutely, yeah. There's multiple million ounce deposits all around us, which is pretty exciting. We're next to Warriedar Resources, just taken out by Capricorn. They've got a few million ounces to the south at Capricorn. We've got Golden Grove's about 40 k's to the north. It's a major mine that's been going a long time. Started off as a gold mine. And Rothsay, which goes up to the Deflector Mill. So we've got 3 or 4 mills within trucking distance, which I believe have some capacity. And it's exciting. This has been 6-7 years of hard work to get to this stage now. And if you look at our early programs, 1,000 or 2,000 meters, poking about, done some IP, and your last program was about 5,000 meters, and this is 7,700 meters. And we've, to the south, now that we have a working geological model down in the Wildflower area, which also sits around the same intrusion unit in the same rocks, we've just tested 4 targets down there. There's gold in soil above them. There's IP anomalies there. There's fractures or structures feeding from the same intrusion unit. The fluid system's the same. And now that we've drilled them, we're pretty sure they look exactly the same. So is there gold there? So we've potentially got 3 or 4 new discoveries, and we've basically taken a long time to get a model that works. And now we're rolling it out. We're sort of McDonaldizing it a little bit. Our franchises are coming. And I think, there's a lot of excitement. It looks like lightning is shaping up to be the real deal. Potentially is going to plunge down to the bowels of the earth, and it needs a lot more drilling to expand it at the top. And then we got some new discoveries, hopefully, to roll out. So, it doesn't get much better than this. It's been like 6-7 years of hard work, and it looks like we're about to, start the race and become a real company.
Excellent. Now, you mentioned there the prospect of toll treatment at one of the mills you've got nearby. What, though, in terms of the development of this project as a mine in its own right?
Look, we've had a mining lease granted over Lightning and the Lightning area, which is a big tick and takes us a long way down that road. I think it's probably as simple as doing some mining studies. Now, once we have the JORC model, there's potentially 2 structures running up and down pretty much Lightning and Monza structures, which are mineralized. Is just modeling them up. Gold is pretty close to surface here, and that keeps down plunging. You just do some mining studies, some scheduling, do the final permits. There's a few bits and pieces, but this is what we do in West Australia. We get gold mines into production. It's a very known path, so we could very quickly get this into production. Potentially, say if we did 50,000 ounces, If we're lucky enough to prove that much up, you could just do a small little pit, get some dirt into a mill. There's a company up the road called New Murchison. They've done a deal where they sell their gold to a neighbouring mill, and they've got a 600 million market cap now. We've got a 16. So if we sort of are able to duplicate a model like that, there's a lot of upside. And then obviously gives us the capital then to develop and, maybe one day if we're really lucky, become a standalone.
In terms of the timing, when do you think, what's the earliest date by which you could be sending your ore off to be toll treated? And then what's the earliest date you think you might be looking to stand alone? Or how much more drilling do you have to do before you're at these sort of points?
How long's a piece of string? Look, a lot about it.
I would say the $64,000 question, but it's now the $1 million question. So there's inflation for you.
So a lot of our, let's not go there. There's a lot of our drilling is 25 meters by 25, and a little bit's 50 by 50. But I think we'd need to, call it 20,000 meters. So maybe $3 million, $3.5 million to drill that out. You'd want to be doing some pit shells, a bit of a mining study to design that properly, to bring it to a point where you're certain. And look, I think we'd be running that process at the same time as we're doing all the approvals for mining. So, I don't know, and I don't really want to say or promise, but is it possible within 12, 18 months? Yeah, potentially. We might, it comes down to how much money do you throw at it and how much success. It'd be unlikely if you've got 4 points and the ones in the middle don't come in as well. But, drilling's drilling. But at the moment, we're pretty confident from what we've seen. And if these new results come in anything like what we've seen at the recent drilling and the past drilling, this is the real deal. This is going to be potentially a real mine. So
that being the case, and if things develop according to plan and according to your wildest dreams, so to speak, in terms of funding it, is the cash there, or will you need to go back to the market?
Look, we're a junior. We always need money. Until you're in cash flow, you need money. Look, I think the last set of results were quite positive. We've definitely got a re-rating on them. I think if these results come in similar, and I think our model does work. Last time it proved it. I think we'll probably get another re-rating. There's interested parties. It's where are we in that pipeline of it where investors who are serious want to get involved? I think we're in this market. We're probably approaching that point. I'm obviously talking to people all the time. I think a lot of people like what we're doing. We just stuck to our knitting and done the proper stuff. And it's now starting to give us some rewards. Like when I was in Cape Town when we caught up, and also at a recent conference here in West Australia, I was getting a lot of small boutique funds and people that don't normally talk to me coming over. So there's definitely been a mood in the change of people who are showing interest in the company, which is reassuring and shows that I think we're on the right track, and we're hopefully at that imminent point for that big re-rate.
You mentioned that re-rating there. It's worth pointing out actually to our listeners and our viewers that the shares are up 2.5 times in the last 9 months or so, 2.5 times in the last month. So that's the re-rating you're talking about and hoping to replicate.
Yeah, absolutely. We've gone from a 4 to 6 million market cap up to a 16 to 20 million market cap. You'd like to think there's a lot more upside with some good results, which hopefully will show people that this is a real deal and it holds together very well. If you look at some of our documents, you can see the plates of the modelling upward holding already, which is exciting. And obviously with the JORC, that's confirmation that a lot of people actually want to see. That obviously helps with the mining study. So that's all within the next couple of months. And then obviously a larger drill program to roll out. It's looking pretty good. Might even find a strategic partner to come in who'll hang around and not sell their shares, which would be nice. Let's say.
Okay, so that is another option or another funding option for you, effectively down the track. You mentioned the drill spacing there, 25 meters by 25 meters, and you talked about the mineral resource estimate, a maiden MRE, in the middle of the year. Any idea at this stage as to whether that gives you measured, indicated, or inferred?
Oh, it's more of a geologist question.
Is that? I suppose I could go on to say, usually you start with the inferred, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
And actually, there is some evidence. There is some evidence in the market that what the market is screaming for at the moment in terms of valuation is early stage inferred resources.
Yep,
So,
yep.
you may be giving the market exactly what they want, and then of course there'll be the process of upgrading that
Yep,
at some later
absolutely.
stage.
And that's, we do a bit of a mining study. Hopefully we get some good results this time. Then we do a bit of mining study, put some rough pit shells on, and then we go back and spend our money smart and wisely on, potentially being able to take out a small little scoop and as we develop the rest and lift it up through the JORC categories. We've just done some 4 diamond holes, which we're very happy with. What we could see, it's exactly what you want to see. There's no visible gold reported, but we're seeing all the right components that you want to see and we confirms we've got dolerites and we're in basalts. We can see it. This is quintessentially a West Australian project that offers some big scale. It's just how far the fluids are pushed into these rocks and how much gold's come out. But if you look at the last past result, there's some cracking stuff there. Some with the diamond holes, some of it's going to be in different categories because some of it's a little bit closely spaced, some isn't. Really just depends. And as gold is sausagey, it pinches and swells and does all sorts of weird things. So subject to how the intersections hit with neighbouring intersections and how they model it. I'm not a geologist, and I'll let them do their things, but we're pretty happy with everything as it's been going. As you expect, 16,000 meters, 97 holes. We've got a fair bit of knowledge of what's going on here.
Just expanding the conversation a little bit, because you mentioned your geologists there and geological team. How easy? One of the problems we're seeing in the mining industry is access to skills, as well as access to everything else. But and also I'll come on to sort of access to laboratory time as well. Are you getting do you have the skill set in enough quantity that you can use it, or is it difficult to hire the right people in Western Australia at the moment? And are you getting the time with the labs that you want as well, and they're giving you the results in a decent turnaround, or are there capacity constraints there as well?
The labs are pretty busy. And they've got some staffing issues, I believe. But the skill set for the people that work in the labs are very different to sort of skill sets that we need. Obviously, mining, you have blue collar, white collar. You have a bit of a spread subject to the task at hand. We're finding about a 6 to 8 week turnaround at the moment to get our results back, which during quite a period to get it back in a couple of weeks. So it is frustrating. But that's just what we're living with at the moment. There's a lot of consultants and out there that we can use and plug into. A lot of the mining companies now who, probably the third tier ones, like to come and partner and help fund these mines into production. So they have their in-house mining team. Some of them have drill rigs, and they'll do equity for drill sort of scenario. So seeming we're in West Perth. This is the epicenter of mining, probably in West Australia. Within a couple of 100 meters, I have all the experts and all the specialist contractors. So it's easy to push into them. But, in my experience, I was a broker for many years. As you start to have success, everyone is drawn to you, sort of like a bright light and a moth. And people want to be involved in new projects because they can come on early, probably get themselves set, and they ride the company on the way up. Everyone wants to lock into a company if they've got a 5-10 year project ahead of them and they get all the kudos and success. They want to be a part of it. So we're sort of entering that stage and having conversations with people accordingly, people who like to be involved in new projects. So there's always
and are you like a bright light to a moth at the moment?
Absolutely. I might invest in some more team. But I think we are. I think we're up and coming, And it's, the fact that we do mining in West Australia, there's machinery around. There's a lot of civil jobs, and there's also mining jobs, and so there's actually quite a bit of machinery that you can lock into. And we're not talking about a major mine here. We're talking about it'd be a small fleet to start with, and off we go from there. Potentially, if we're lucky, we'll go underground as well. A lot of the mines in the area are down 1.5 kilometres plus, and there's another whole complete different skill set there with people. And once again, it's available here in West Australia because that's sort of what we do.
Excellent. It worth saying, Terrain is not actually a one-trick pony, is it? Can I say it's a 5-trick pony? Do you want to talk about some of your other projects?
Yeah, look, we're a pipeline company where you go down the rabbit hole with exploration on a project, and it actually stops and it's a dead end, and you've got to reverse out, but you need to survive. So we've always had the mentality that we need other projects. Some with a Queensland project, which is copper gold. It's taken about 3 or 4 years to get it, a year to get it pegged and put together, and about 2 years to get granted. It takes time. So, we thought 4 years ago copper would be a great place to be. It's 2,500 square Ks. It's been locked up in a couple of companies that we know for over 20 years, and it's got some really, really exciting results on it. So that's one of our projects. We've got another project up in the Pilbara, which is a lithium gold project. We've just done some work. Some soils are pending there. And we've done a machine learning study, which is what found Hemi, which is 11 million ounces just down the road. And there's 1,100 square kilometres in the Pilbara, not one drill hole on it. It's the heart of the mining district, West Australia. No one's been looking for gold up there. It's an iron ore district. And sure enough, they just found 11 million ounces and a heap of lithium and all sorts of stuff. Pugangura is nearby. So that's an exciting project, but it's taking 2 years to get it granted. So we've been working there, and I tend to be very good at discovering things I'm not looking for. And that's how we've come across our Lawrence Lane gallium project, which is actually on our gold project tenement package. It's just to the south or southeast. But the WA government's paying for metallurgy work there. We've got a JORC exploration target on 27 square kilometres. We get some high-grade gallium in a clay and regolith, so it's just like in a sand, major drainage channel that's big. So there's some MET studies coming from Curtin University here in West Australia. So the West Australian government's funding it because gallium's a critical mineral and we need to be able to unlock it. So let's see where we end up there, but we're quietly confident. And we also have a very, very high-grade rare earth hitting one hole down in Esperance, which is the bottom of West Australia, which is a failed nickel project. Once again, we look at the whole periodic table and found this. It's a high-grade rare earth hit 8-meter zone, 4,000 ppm up to 8,000 ppm hits within that zone. It's comparable to what they have in Brazil. So we've just gone down there and done just under 1,000 meters air core. We've got a regolith map from our V10. We've reprocessed it. So it shows a nice big 66 square kilometer target. So we've put some holes into that. Who knows? Let's see. So it's not exactly what we're doing, but if we prove these up slowly, add a bit of value to them, I think our philosophy has always been once we find something real, that's what we become. I think we've just become a gold silver company at Smokebush. That's what I'm thinking. And that's where our focus is. These other things will, fix them up a little bit, add a little bit of value to them. The goal is to give shareholders shares in other companies with them, and that's what we'll probably do. I'm a shareholder. I'm happy to, spend a little bit of money on them and float them off in another direction now that I think we're actually onto a real project.
All right. Well, Justin, we wish you the very best of luck indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Terrain Minerals Principal Executive Director Justin Virgin talking to me there at Edison TV. We'll be bringing you more such opportunities, investment opportunities in the very near future. Remember, Terrain Minerals, it's, as I say, up 2.5 times, listed in Australia, up 2.5 times in the last 9 months or so. So, I'm looking for another re-rating with those results. So definitely worth taking a look at. We'll be bringing, as I say, more opportunities in the very near future. But until then, you have a capital day.
Thanks for having us.